So today we're going to start doing standing poses, and the standing poses I'm going to take you through today follow what I like to call the center line of your yoga mat. So if we could have a piece of tape or chalk line down the center of your yoga mat, the standing poses we're going to do today all go on that line. But to get there, we're going to try to weave them into the sun salutation that we've been doing as well. So let's get warmed up with the sun salutation. And remember, as a group, we will start with the gentlest sun salutation first. Then we will progress to a moderate intensity, and then I will demonstrate the hardest, most challenging sun salutation. You have to decide which level is right for you. And maybe you borrow one variation from one version and you kind of mix and match, and that's okay. The importance is that you try to stay within your comfort zone. So the easiest sun salutation, we start with the feet hip-width apart. Try to keep the feet parallel. Having the feet hip-width apart is gentler on your lower back. It's good if you have tight hamstrings. Spinning the thumbs away from you, opening the front of the chest. We'll take the first one slowly. Inhale, raise the arms up, gazing up at your thumbs, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward bend, looking between your knees for Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Place the hands firmly down as you step back to a high plank position. Come down onto the knees, but try and hold a strong belly for the plank as you lower down. Keep the elbows back, tucking the thumbs, relax the feet. Inhale, come up to a gentle back bend. Maybe you just get the ribs off the floor. Maybe you get the belly button off the floor. And then bring the toes together, knees apart as you push back into Adho Mukha Virasana. Trying to push the hips back onto the heels as you reach the arms forward. Spreading the fingers, trying to keep the wrists and elbows off the floor. If it's okay for your shoulders. If it hurts your shoulders, then you bring the elbows down. If you're not able to rest your head on the floor, maybe place a block under your head. But we won't be here that long. So right now you have created a line from your hip socket to your wrist. That's exactly what we do in downward facing dog. So later in the class when we're doing downward facing dog, if it doesn't feel right to you, you can always come back to this pose. It's more accessible, it doesn't hurt the wrists, it's gentle on the shoulders, but you can still get the lengthening of the spine that we try to get in downward facing dog. Now when you're ready, come up to all fours. Bringing one leg to the front, then the other leg to the front. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward bend. Soft behind the knees. Pull from the hips as you raise yourself up. And exhale, arms down. All right, second variation. The feet come together. Unless you decide, no, Jen, I like my feet hip-width apart. Then keep your feet hip-width apart. But for those of you who want to have a slightly stronger forward bend, feet are together, a little gap between the ankles to indicate if you're pronating or supinating. A little stronger in the legs. Start to engage the quadriceps, raising the kneecaps, spreading the toes, spreading the fingers. Inhale, raise the arms up. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward bend, gazing at your knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Place the hands firmly down, stepping back to a high plank position. We're going to come knees down again, but this time I'm going to challenge you. Squeeze the elbows into your ribs as you lower down to elbow height. Holding there if you can. Strong in the belly, strong in the back. And then inhale, relax the feet, lift the chin and the chest. This is a slightly higher back bend. The knees are still down, but now we've got the hips off the floor, if you can. Otherwise, you keep the hips down, especially if it causes compression in your lower back. Keep the hips on the floor. Now, we're going to stay on the knees. Knees are hip-width apart, feet are hip-width apart. Hips stay high for Anahatasana as you walk the hands forward and rest the head down. Now, if you need to sit back onto your heels, you can sit back onto your heels for Adho Mukha Virasana that we were in earlier. But if you want a little more extension in the spine, then we try Anahatasana, which is this one. However, it requires more shoulder mobility. So if it feels like you're about to pull your arm out of the socket, you might need to place a block under your head. If you need to bring the elbows down, bring the elbows down. That can also help ease the extension of the shoulder joint. And some of you are very comfortable going into a back bend in this pose. Some of you, I would encourage you to hold some core strength to have a longer, straighter spine, less of a back bend. And then when you're ready, start to come up to all fours. Bring one leg to the front, then the other leg. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward bend. Soft behind the knees. Pull from the hips as you raise yourself up. Exhale, arms down. All right, last sun salutation. When you're ready, inhale, gazing up at your thumbs. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Place the hands firmly down, stepping back, high plank. Try to keep the knees off the floor as you lower down to elbow height. Obviously, bring them down if you need to. Pushing up to your back bend. See if you can get the knees off the floor. So we're just on the tops of the feet, engaging the quadriceps to lift the knees off the floor. And then rolling over the toes, pushing the heels back. Start pushing strongly in the arms as you press back into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Most of you need to walk your feet up a little bit. It happens to most people who make that transition. Try to press the whole palm into the floor, not just the wrist or the pinky side of the palm. So we want to make good contact with the thumb and the index finger as well. And we want the middle fingers to be parallel to each other. So we want your hands to be more like that, yeah. So there you go. Yep. But we want to keep your feet on the mat. Can you step forward? There you go. Yeah. Step up here. When you're ready. Sorry, guys. Bring one leg to the front, then the other leg. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward bend. Soft behind the knees. Pull from the hips. Raise yourself up. Exhale, arms down. All right. Sorry about that. I got a little distracted. All right. So that's Surya Namaskara A. Last class, I introduced you to Surya Namaskara B. But we're going to review that in this class as we go through some of these standing poses, because I wanted to work on poses that are on the center line. And one of the postures in that sequence is Virabhadrasana 1, where we're actually off the center line. The feet are actually more at a diagonal to try and bring the hips. So we're going to probably do that one last. Okay, so the first standing pose on the center line that we're going to do is Warrior 2. So visualize that center line down your mat and bring your right foot onto it. Step your left foot back, also on that line, so that your front heel is in line with your back arch. Now, looking at your front knee, we want the front knee to be going in the same direction as the foot. Sometimes if you're tight in the inner groin, that knee comes in a little bit. We want to try and stretch the inner thigh to keep the knee over the ankle. It's okay if it's a little behind the ankle, but we want it going in the same direction as the foot. We also want to try and get the femur bone and your foot parallel to the mat. So you might think if the foot's turned in, then the knee can come in, but we want to try and have the foot and the femur also on that center line. Now, become aware of your back leg. If you have a slight bend in the knee, try to straighten that back leg out. We want to try and push the outer edge of the foot down as well. Sometimes if the knee bends, then the foot rolls in. So we want to try and keep that leg straight to try and keep the outer edge of the foot on the mat. Now, the other thing I often see in this posture is the hips twisting. We want to try and have the hips open, which is hard for some of you because it's a big groin stretch. So see if you can imagine yourself sandwiched between two planes, and that's planes as in mathematical planes, not airplanes. And reaching the arms out to horizontal, gazing out over your right fingertips. Roll the shoulders back a little bit. Spin the armpits and the inner elbows up towards the ceiling, but turn the palms down. Look behind you at your left hand. Is your left hand where you think it should be, or is it off in some other direction? This is Warrior Two. From Warrior Two, we usually go to Reverse Warrior. So open the right palm, raise the right arm, sliding the left hand down to the left knee, getting a long stretch on the right side of the body. If you feel like reaching to the right knee is too far, reaching the left hand to the knee is too far, place your left hand on your left hip. Bring it higher up. Give yourself a little support. So long stretch, opening the space between the ribs on the right side of the body. And then exhale, come back to Warrior Two, arms horizontal. All right. Now changing sides. Stepping the left foot forward on that center line. Taking the right leg back so that the front heel is in line with the back arch. And both of those are on the center line. Bring the knee back so that you feel the stretch on the inner thigh. Bring the right knee back so that you feel the stretch on the inner thigh of the right leg. Pressing the outer edge of the right foot down on the floor. Check that your femur bone and your foot are parallel to the mat, that your knee's not coming in a little bit. And then raise the arms up to horizontal, roll the shoulders back, spin the inner elbows up towards the ceiling, but spin the palms down. The other thing to look out for, I don't see too many of you doing it, is taking a little back bend, bringing the pelvis back in your effort to stand up tall. Your posture shouldn't change from when you're standing, so we still want to try and have this straight spine when we move into the pose without bringing the belly forward. And then when you're ready, open the left palm, raise the left arm, Reverse Warrior. Sliding the right hand down to the right knee, unless it feels like it's too far. Then bring the right hand to the hip and support yourself so you don't feel so heavy on the left side, right side. Don't lose the lunge in the left leg. Some of you, your knee has gone in. Bring that knee back over the ankle. Stretching the muscles between the ribs on the left side of the body. And then exhale, coming back to Warrior Two. And then stepping out. Okay. That's okay. That comes with practice. You'll get better at it. Now, from Warrior 2 and from Reverse Warrior, I usually take students into extended side stretch. And I just want to demonstrate a couple of things about extended side stretch. Michael, could I have that mat behind you, please? The black mat. There's two things that actually there's more than two things, but there's a couple of things I want to focus on before you even get into this posture. So this posture, Utthita Parshvakonasana, I would encourage many of you to use blocks with it. Some of you, the blocks will even be too low. And so it's still the same posture on the center line. We go from warrior, reverse warrior. And then I ask students to wrap one arm behind their back. That is to keep this shoulder back. And then I ask them to bring the forearm to the knee. We turn the chin to the shoulder, and we take the arm overhead. Utthita Parshvakonasana is extended side angle. There's the side angle from the wrist to the ankle. Now, if you want to go further in this posture, you'll see students, when I say, if you can take your hand to the floor, take your hand to the floor, they'll just take their hand to the floor. They've lost the side angle. Now they're in a curve. We need to, how do we get that side angle back? You take the hips lower. To take the hips lower, then the hand comes down. If it doesn't reach the floor, then you use a block, either at that height or that height. But we want to try and maintain that long line on the side of the body. The other thing that can happen is in your effort to go further, you'll start to crush these ribs, and that's where you start to get the curve. So if that's the case, then come up a little more so that this lung doesn't get crushed. If you can go deeper in the lunge, you go a little deeper in the lunge. But we want to try and keep the ribs fairly symmetrical as we go into this posture. And then the other thing that often happens, part of the reason I ask students to bring the shoulder back, looking over the shoulder, take the arm up, is because if I just ask them, take your arm overhead, they would bring the shoulder forward and then turn the head to look back. So the shoulder is forward. We want to bring the belly back. We want to bring the chest back so that the shoulder is in line with the shoulder below it. And if you wrap this arm around behind, then I know your shoulder's in a good position when you take the arm overhead, okay? So I'm going to take you through a few of those steps, but I just wanted to explain why I go through those steps with you the way I do. So let's start in Warrior 2 again, Virabhadrasana 2. Have a block ready if you think you're going to use it. On the right side, wasn't it yet? Standing on that center line, arms to horizontal. Try not to let the belly go out. Try to keep the belly strong, the spine supported. Open the right palm, raise the right arm, reverse warrior, sliding the left hand down to the knee. Wrap the left arm around and behind your lower back. Keep the left arm back there as you bring your right forearm to your thigh and turn your chin to your left shoulder. Now, if you think you can go deeper in the lunge, that means you can almost take your femur bone horizontal, or you can take your hip down to knee level. Then you can probably take the right hand down to a block or to the floor. Yes. Take your right hand. Yeah? That's all right. If your femur bone is still at an angle, and that means your hip is higher than your knee, then you're probably not ready to go down that low. Still looking over the left shoulder. When you're ready, raise the left arm up, spin the palm towards you, pinky side down, creating a long line from the left wrist to the left ankle. Turning your chin to the left shoulder if it's comfortable for your neck. I've kept you here for a while. When you're ready, strong in the right leg. Inhale, raise yourself up, reverse warrior. Keep raising that right arm. And then exhale back to Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Beautiful. It did it. Yeah. All right, let's change sides. That's the trouble. When I'm not doing it with you, I forget how it feels. So that's what happens when I start walking around the room. All right, left foot forward, right foot back. Setting up your warrior two. Now, sorry, I should have mentioned this before. If you're not sure about the distance of your feet, ideally it's ape index. Ape index is fingertip to fingertip. So your toes should approximately be under your fingertips. That's about what the distance should be. And then you bend the left knee. But I hate to put that other because for some people that's too far. So if you feel like that lunge, that distance is too long for you, well then shorten your stance. But that's just an ideal distance. It's a good measure for where you'd like to be. All right, so now we bend the knee, open the left palm, inhale, reverse warrior, Viparita Virabhadrasana. Wrap the right arm around and behind your lower back. Then on the exhale, start to bring the left forearm down to your thigh, turning your chin to the right shoulder. And try to be light on that left arm by being strong on the right side of the body. Try not to rest all your weight down onto the right arm, left arm. Those of you who think you can go a little deeper, that means you can take the hip down to knee height. You might be able to bring your left hand down to a block or to the floor. And now everyone raise the right arm up, spin the palm towards you, pinky side down towards the floor, as you create that long line from the right wrist to the right ankle. To be light on the left hand, you have to be strong on the right side of the body. The right side of the body creates a lift. Oh, you're right there. When you're ready, inhale up to reverse warrior. Raise the left arm. Keep the left knee bent. And then exhale back to warrior two. All right, you all right? I know. They're a little wobbly, these blocks with their beveled edges. Okay. Out. Good. Very good. Okay. From there, we're going to take Uttita Trikonasana. And Uttita Trikonasana, main difference is it has straight legs, and we don't take the arm overhead. But some of the same rules apply that I explained to you in Uttita Parshvottanasana. So some of the common... So it's still about ape index. You're still on the center line. And what we're looking for here, again, is symmetry in the rib cage until you can bring that hand down, either to the shin or to a block. Looking over the shoulder, top arm goes to vertical. If we had the space, I would have everyone up against the wall, but we don't. All we have is this one wall. But this is something you can practice at home when I know you're practicing every day, right? You can practice with the wall. In this particular posture, it's ideal if both shoulders are able to touch the wall behind you and that both hips are also touching the wall. But for most of you, this hip is going to come forward and the shoulder is going to come forward. Then that means you've gone too far. You need to come up to a height where you can still keep the shoulder back and you can still keep the hip back. Now the other thing that can happen in this posture is hyperextension of the knee. Because we put a lot of weight into this front leg, it doesn't happen to everyone, but some of you, and you may not even be aware of whether or not you hyperextend your knee. It's usually something that only an observer would notice. But if you suspect that might apply to you, or if the tension behind the back of your knee is just too intense, you can take a slight bend. But as soon as you take a bend, then you lose the lengthening of the hamstring and the calf. So if you came to yoga to increase your flexibility, then it's good to work with a straight leg, but not a locked knee and not a hyperextended knee. So we want a straight knee, but not going in the wrong direction. So one of the ways you can eliminate that is by keeping this hand on the hip. By putting the hand on the hip, then you're putting your weight here at the hip joint, not so much on the knees. Because for some people, they'll bring the hand to the shin and they really push into the shin. You're pressing into the knee. So placing the hand on the block is a better option. But for some of you, the block is too low. So again, I would suggest you keep your hand on your hip and take the top arm up. We gaze up at the hand, but if that's uncomfortable for your neck, then just keep your head forward or even turn to look down at the floor. Okay, so come back into Warrior Two. Arms horizontal on the right side, yeah. We'll go back to Reverse Warrior. Some of you have your knees in a little bit. Bring the knee back over the ankle. And then open the right palm, raise the right arm, sliding the left hand down. Wrap the left arm around and behind your lower back. Start to straighten the right leg. Try to keep the right rib cage open as you bring the right hand down either to the top of your hip, to your shin, or to a block. Very few of you can go to the floor. If you can get to the floor, good on you, but I might ask you to come back up. Generally, when someone goes to the floor, you need to have a longer stance. Turning your chin to the left shoulder, take the left arm up to vertical. And try to imagine both shoulders up against a wall. And then inhale, bend the right knee, raise the right arm, Reverse Warrior. Keep raising the right arm. And then exhale back to Warrior Two. And release, coming out. Swapping sides, bringing the left foot forward, take the right leg back. If you feel like your yoga mat is stretching, you might need a different yoga mat. Okay? So bear that in mind. Some yoga mats have better friction than others. Okay, so into Warrior Two, Virabhadrasana 2. Keeping that knee over the ankle joint. Gazing out over your left fingertips. Open the left palm. Inhale, Reverse Warrior. Wrap the right arm around and behind your lower back. Keep the right arm back there. Start to straighten the left leg as you bring the left hand down either to the top of your hip, to your shin, or to your block. Turning your chin to the right shoulder, take your right arm up to vertical. Try not to hold your breath. You need to find a place where the posture is comfortable and sustainable. If you feel like you're about to lose it at any moment, you've gone too far and you need to come back a little bit. When you're ready to bend the left knee, inhale, raise the left arm, Reverse Warrior, and then exhale to Warrior Two. Arms horizontal. Very good. Exhale, release. Come on out. So the last standing pose that we're going to do is Warrior One. And Warrior One is the one that's in the Sun Salutation, Surya Namaskara B that I taught you guys last week. The reason I'm taking it out of sequence is because it actually goes on a diagonal. So if you could draw a diagonal line from one corner of your mat to the other, that's where we want our feet. So go ahead and imagine the diagonal line going from the right corner of your mat to the back left corner of your mat. And for this one, we lunge facing the front of the room. So we bring the right hip back, we bring the left hip forward, tracking the knee over the ankle, strong in the back leg. Feeling a little bit of a calf stretch there as well. So let's start with the hands on the hips. Try to get a sense for most of us, the hips are at an angle, but we want to try and work towards squaring them to the front of the room. Bring the shoulders back, opening across the front of the chest. Spinning the thumbs away from you. Inhale, raise the arms up and overhead. Strong in the belly, strong in the legs. Gazing up at your hands if it's comfortable for you to do so. If that's too much for your neck, keep your chin forward and look towards the front. Holding there for one more breath, and then on the exhale, start to release and come out. Changing sides, stepping the left foot to the front, take the right leg back. Bending the left knee, bring the left hip back, bring the right hip forward, strong in the back leg. So the left leg is pulling you forward, the right leg is pulling you back. So we want both legs to be equally strong. Hands on the hips. As you open the front of the chest, squeezing the elbows back, lifting the chin slightly. Inhale, raise the arms up. Virabhadrasana 1. Try not to hold the breath. Holding steady and finding that place where you can soften the posture a little bit. Where it's not so hard, not so tense. Taking one more inhale, exhale, start to come out. I should have said, so this is one of the first back bends we've done. It doesn't seem like a big back bend, but it is a back bend. As soon as you bring the hips forward, lift the chest, take the arms back. That's a back bend. For any women who have had children, if your rectus abdominis came apart and it still has not gone back together, please avoid back bends in yoga. The more back bends, because when those muscles are pulled apart, for some women it causes back pain. And when you keep doing the back bends, you just keep pulling them apart. You need to work on core and strengthening. So anyway, just putting that out there because this is one of the first back bends we've done. So now we're going to try to tie those standing poses into a sequence. This is where I might lose some of you. And this is where the pace quickens. But this is more like what you came for, a vinyasa style class where the poses get linked with the breath and we transition from one pose to the next. Now it's just like a sun salutation, but what changes is from downward dog, we throw one of these poses in. And I just want to demonstrate there's 3 ways to get there. If you want to sit down, if your legs are tired, go ahead and sit down. So what happens, I'm trying to think if I want to show this from the side or from the front. So some of you are on your knees. You're not taking downward facing dog. That's fine. So you're on your knees. When you hear me tell the students, raise one leg up, bring one leg forward. You come onto your knees, you bring one leg to the front, pick the back leg up, turn the heel down to the center of the mat. You're now on the center line, and you come up for warrior 2. You do the reverse warrior, you do all the other poses, and then you go back to the posture that you were in, whether that was Anahatasana or Adho Mukha Virasana. Those of you in downward facing dog, there's 2 options for you. So, well, kind of 3, but my personal style, and so it's not a hard, fast rule, it's just something I like to do, is I take one leg up, I come forward into a high plank, hug the knee in to bring that foot forward, and then I come up. Okay? For some of you, the hard part is that sucking in of the knee to get that foot forward. It doesn't happen. So, for some of you, you might have to take a few steps, and that's okay. Others, I would say, come down onto your knees, bring the foot up, then come right back up. So, take the knees, get the foot where you need it, and then pick the back knee up. Yeah? Okay. You'll know as soon as you get there which is right for you. So let's start back in Tadasana at the front of the mat. I'm also going to talk to you about transitions. Have any of you watched the video I did on transitions? Huh? Okay. Well, I'm going to have to talk you through them today because transition is where we're shifting from the right side to the left side. And there's three basic options for people to take. I'm going to talk you through those once we get going. So we'll pretend like we're in Surya Namaskara B, which has powerful pose. We did this pose last class where we bend the knees, inhale, raise the arms up. Exhale to the forward bend, straightening the knees, looking between your knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Place the hands firmly down, step back to a high plank position, either knees up or knees down as you lower down to your belly or to elbow height. Pushing up to your back bend. And then either stay on your knees or roll over the toes and press back into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Now you need to make a decision because we want to bring the right foot between the hands. So you either come down onto your knees and bring the right foot forward, or you raise the right leg up, hug that knee in close and try to bring the right foot maybe in a step or two to the hands. Pick the back knee up, turn the left heel down to the center of the mat, coming up for Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Check in with your knee and your foot, see what direction they're pointing. You should just be able to see your toenails over the knee. Open the right palm, inhale, raise the right arm up, and then wrap the left arm around and behind your lower back as you bring the right forearm down to the thigh, turning your chin to the left shoulder. And then inhale, raise the left arm overhead. Uttita Parshvottanasana. Bring the arm to the ear. That's it. So extended side angle. Now from here we go to reverse warrior, strong in the right leg. Inhale, raise the right arm. Now you choose your transition. If you've had enough today and you need a break, step to the front of the mat into a forward bend. Those of you who want a moderate break, place the hands down and push back into downward facing dog. Number 3, those of you who want more of a workout, go from high plank down to low plank, push up for the back bend, roll back for downward dog. If you didn't catch that, that's okay. We're going to go there again. All right, now the left side. Either come onto your knees or raise the left leg up, hug the knee in close as you bring the left foot through, right heel down, inhale, Warrior 2. Check in with your knee. Open the left palm, inhale, reverse warrior, wrap the right arm around and behind the lower back. Keep the right arm back there as you bring the left forearm down, turning the chin to the right shoulder, raise the right arm overhead, pinky side pointing down towards the floor. The right arm is by your cheekbone. Strong in the left leg. When you're ready to come up, inhale, reverse warrior. Now think about your transition. If you've had enough, step to the front of the mat into a forward bend. Otherwise, place the hands down. Either A, press back into downward dog, or B, lower down for Chaturanga Dandasana. That's the low plank. Inhale up to Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, we hop, step, or walk to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward bend. Soft behind the knees. Pull from the hips as you raise yourself up. Exhale, arms down. All right, so now we're going to repeat that, but we're going to throw in triangle pose. So when you're ready, powerful pose. Bend the knees. Inhale, raise the arms up. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward bend. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hop or step back to your high plank position. Knees up or down as you lower down to elbow height or onto your belly. Inhale, pushing up. Exhale, rolling back. Either come onto your knees or raise the right leg up. Hug that knee in as you bring the right foot forward, left heel down. Again, Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Open the right palm. Inhale, raise the right arm. Wrap the left arm around and behind the lower back. Start to straighten the right leg as you bring the right hand down either to the top of your hip or to the shin or even to a block. Straight right leg, Stephanie. That's it. Turning your chin to the left shoulder. Take the left arm up to vertical. It doesn't go to your cheekbone this time. For this one, we try to create a perpendicular line from the left wrist to the right wrist. Try to be light on the right arm by creating lift on the left side of the body. And then when you're ready to come up, bend the right knee, inhale, reverse warrior, raise the right arm. And then exhale, choose your transition. Either step to the front of the mat into a forward bend. Number 2 option, press back into downward dog. Number 3, high plank, down to low plank. Up for the back bend, back for downward dog. Left side, either come down onto your knees or raise the left leg up. Hug that left knee in close as you bring the left foot forward, right heel down. Warrior 2. Yeah, you did it. Open the left palm. Inhale, Warrior 2. No, sorry, reverse warrior. Wrap the right arm around and behind the lower back. Start to straighten the left leg as you bring the left hand down. Turning your chin to the right shoulder, take the right arm up to vertical. Again, try to be light on the left leg by creating lift on the right side of the body, as if there's an imaginary rope that you could pull on to make you lighter on the left leg. And then when you're ready to come up, bend the left knee. Inhale, raise the left arm. And then exhale, either step to the front of the mat into forward bend or take your last downward facing dog, your last Chaturanga Dandasana, the last upward facing dog, and the last downward facing dog. And then from there, coming onto your knees, onto your feet, sitting back on your heels, knees are together, feet are together, as you place the hands by your feet and rest the head down. If you cannot easily get the head down, place a block there. If you feel like you cannot breathe, then take the knees apart. So this is Balasana. It's a little different from Adho Mukha Virasana in that the knees are together. So this is child's pose. However, for some people, having the knees together makes it hard to breathe. But having the knees together makes it a really nice forward bend. And so for some of us, it helps to release the lower back and any tension that was created there from the practice. More importantly, this should be a restful pose. If it's not, if it feels uncomfortable or awkward in any way, please just come out. Maybe you prefer to cross your arms and rest your head on your arms, on your forearms. That's fine. So this is just a moment to catch your breath and to release your lower back. Now start to come up to sitting. We're going to lie down for Shavasana. Remember, as you're lying down on your back, if you feel like your lower back is gripping, then I suggest you keep your knees bent, knees together, feet apart. Otherwise, we stretch the legs out straight, place the hands by the sides, palms up. Move anything out of the way that might be causing a distraction. Do anything you need to do to make yourself comfortable. Sometimes it's just the tiniest thing of fixing your ponytail or adjusting your hips, your knees, your arms. So in Shavasana, you need to be able to relax and release with each breath. So with the inhale, there's some effort of lifting the chest. On the exhale, we release that effort and let the chest sink. As the chest sinks, then the back sinks. So with each breath, you feel a little bit heavier in the back, in the legs, in the arms, in the head. If your mind starts to wander, bring your awareness back to the breath. Perhaps returning to imagining the air flowing in one side and flowing out the other side. For some students, lying still, being quiet is the hardest part. So if you have a busy mind, keep your mind busy, focusing on the breath and the sensations in the body. Now start to bring your awareness back to the room, bringing some gentle movement back into your hands and your feet. And when you're ready to come up, bend the knees and roll to your side. And use the strength of the arms to push yourself up to sitting. Becoming aware of your posture. Breathing deeply. And then if you like, bringing the palms together. Namaste. Thank you for coming out this evening.